Chapter 1381, Heavenly Quartz Letter. Chapter 1381. Heavenly Quartz Letter. The Super Goo Formation in Plunder Shadow Earth Trench might be broken, but it had warned Feng Yuan and the group that this time. The southern border Goo Immortals were rushing over, but there was still some distance before they reached. Feng Yuan could use the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle to immediately escape. However, after he carefully considered it, he decided to try using omnidirectional travel and familiarize with this method early to prevent any accidents in the future. Because Feng Yuan's methods could not break the investigative killer move, that meant his location would always be in an exposed state. It was likely that they would be ambushed by enemies while escaping. For instance, Feng Yuan's group had ran into E-Clan's Immortal Goo House, Bay Pavilion, earlier, while they were on the run. Under this situation, it was actually risky for Feng Yuan and the others to escape with the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle, because the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle was not an Immortal Goo House. It and the Goo Immortals were not a single entity, and it did not provide a unified combination of offense and defense like Immortal Goo Houses. This meant the Goo Immortals on the Eagle's back could easily be targeted, but if they grasped the ancient battle formation omnidirectional travel, they could teleport instantly, crossing an extremely large distance and leaving the danger area. Ing Wu Xie and the others were able to escape even Heavenly Quartz pursuit because they had this method. Feng Yuan's repeated chases brought no results because of this ancient battle formation. Now, Feng Yuan was the new leader of Shadow Sect. His enemy's advantage had now become his advantage. Feng Yuan summoned all the Goo Immortals and passed on the contents of the ancient battle formation to every person. Among them, Bai Ning Bing, He Lu Lan, and Ing Wu Xie had already grasped this formation path killer move. But it was the first time for Feng Yuan, Miao Yin, and Black Tigress in any case, only. 3 of them had grasped omnidirectional travel, and among them, Ing Wu Xie's mind was in a turmoil and could not be relied on. As such, Feng Yuan needed to gather everyone and practice together. This formation path method needed each Goo Immortal to coordinate, so there was not much meaning in practicing alone. While Feng Yuan and the group were urgently practicing omnidirectional travel, Wu Yong was marching ahead majestically with the southern border righteous path Goo Immortals. Wu Yong, according to your information, the enemies are likely to be in Plunder Shadow Earth Trench. We are not that far from the Earth Trench now. Please give your orders to plan the situation. Chi Chuyu said he was also a rank 8 Goo Immortal, like Wu Yong, and based on seniority, he was from the same generation as Wu Du Xiu, highly senior to Wu Yong. However, Wu Clan was at the height of power, while Qi Clan was satisfied in ruling over their area and had far less reputation than Wu Clan. Adding on the information revealed by Tai Mian Shin about Wu Yong, Southern Border's Goo Immortals were starting to feel apprehensive towards this Wu Clan first Supreme Elder, and even some fear. After all, before this, many Righteous Path forces had looked to trouble Wu Clan. Some even openly invaded Wu Clan's external resource points. If they had known about Wu Yong's strength and Wu Clan's clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building, they would have restrained themselves and not have acted so recklessly. Wu Clan lost much territory. Wu Yong is absolutely going to settle the score later. After exterminating Shadow Sect's remnant forces, Wu Yong will probably start taking actions. Sai? We were all mistaken. This Wu Yong is very scheming, completely unlike Wu Du Xiu. He actually hid himself so well. Now that I think back, this was probably his plan, to show weakness first so that he can counterattack later with justification on his side, gaining even more benefits. On the way, the southern border Goo Immortals continued to discuss with each other. Theories about Wu Yong soon became the common topic in the group that for Feng Yuan and the rest of Shadow Sect's members. Purple Mountain True Monarch had already died. Even Spectral Soul's main body was captured by Heavenly Court. To the southern border Righteous Path Goo Immortals, only that upper extreme Heavenly Eagle was worth noting. They had mobilized 6 Immortal Goo houses in this trip. What was there to fear? About an upper extreme Heavenly Eagle? Plunder Shadow Earth Trench. Ugh. Bai Ning Bing suddenly coughed softly, a pained expression flashing past her eyes. The activation of omnidirectional travel had failed again. Bai Ning Bing suffered the most severe backlash. But her expression soon recovered. Man as before. Fang Yuan was successively activating this time path immortal goo. Healing himself and others, the complicated expression flashed past He Lulan's eyes, as she once again enjoyed the healing effect of man as before. Man as before was still alive. Even she was once again in Fang Yuan's camp. The only pity was Tai by Yun Sheng, who had died. Moreover, he had been personally killed by Fang Yuan. The training stopped. Fang Yuan healed his injuries using man, as before, and began to think and summarize the reason for the failure. As for the others, they were still healing. Man as before had been used on all of them, but its effect on them was far less than on Fang Yuan. The sovereign immortal body had the property of non-conflicting Dao marks. This slightly weakened Fang Yuan's defense, but at the same time, it gave him a great boost in the healing aspect. The injuries to others were not serious, and adding on their outstanding inheritances, they soon recovered completely. All right, let's try again. Fang Yuan called. Ancient battle formation, omnidirectional travel, radiance spread out from every person's body. The radiance soon linked together, but it started to waver and lose its stable state. Bam! There was a crack as the light dissipated, turning into countless little sparks that filled the sky. Fairy Miaoyin groaned. Her face flushed red as she suffered the heaviest injury this time. Fang Yuan did not suffer any injuries. He activated man as before and healed Fairy Miaoyin first. Our movements need to be united. Again, after a while, Fang Yuan said while clapping his hands, ancient battle formation, omnidirectional travel, another failure. He Lulan gave a muffled groan, her brows slightly furrowed, and a trace of pain flashed past her beautiful face. After resting again, Fang Yuan said, let's adjust a little, follow my movements, and then move accordingly. Understood. The three women nodded without a sound. After a while, although Fang Yuan had to taste the bitter fruit of failure again, the progress was much better than before. Good. Fang Yuan's eyes shined. The crucial key to successful activation of the ancient battle formation omnidirectional travel was closely united movements of all parties. After all the initial suffering and hard work, they finally started to find rhythm. But, right at this time, the formation suddenly emitted a thunderous sound. Not good. There are several immortal goo houses above the earth trench. A pure dream reality seeker body who was in charge of controlling the goo formation hurried over to report at once. All the female immortals' gazes gathered on Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan was Shadow Sect's leader. They were waiting for Fang Yuan's decision. Quite fast, but no worries. Fang Yuan smiled. This situation is within my expectations. We will follow the plan. Yes. The pure dream reality seeker body quickly retreated. Continue. Fang Yuan said to the female immortals. Immortal goo houses have locked onto Plunder Shadow Earth Trench. We have limited time. We need to hurry. Inside Clear Jade Dripping Wind Tiny Bamboo Building, Wu Yong was looking down at Plunder Shadow Earth Trench through the windows. After observing for a while, a sharp light flashed past his eyes. This super goo formation is quite profound. The creator used the natural Dao marks in the earth trench to construct an immortal goo formation with just large numbers of mortal goo. There are shadow monsters as well. Amazing. This scale is enormous. They have all been gathered into one area by this super goo formation. Xiao Ji Kai exclaimed from the side, "At this time." Chi Chu Yu's excited voice came from within Chi Clan's immortal goo house. Good formation, good formation. How about letting this old man deduce this formation's weakness and break it? No need. Wu Yong lightly refused. This extermination trip should be finished quickly. Just this goo formation, so what? Even if there were several times more shadow monsters, they won't be able to block our immortal goo house's attacks. As he said this, Wu Yong paused, before sending a command. Everyone attack. Clear Jade Dripping Wind Tiny Bamboo Building immediately took the lead. Charging down amidst the fierce wind, it killed all the shadow monsters on its way, paving a path of massacre and chaos. Southern Borders goo immortals were visibly shocked as they looked at this sight. Clear Jade Dripping Wind Tiny Bamboo Buildings might had greatly surpassed their expectations. This is Wu Clan's might. Many goo immortals sighed internally, as if they were seeing a scene of the past where Wu Duxiu fought her way through all that Wu Yong was of Wu Clan's bloodline in the end. Ferocity was already deep within his blood and bones. At once, the southern border Gu immortals felt a sense of invigoration in their hearts. Kill. Charge. Kill these demonic scoundrels. Several immortal Gu houses rampaged like unstoppable beasts. The countless layers of shadow monsters felt like weak sheep in contrast. Cries of massacre had already reached Feng Yuan's ears, and they were getting louder. Fairy Miao Yin's expression changed slightly. He Lulan took several glances at Feng Yuan, but Feng Yuan showed no reaction. Bai Ningbing was still aloof and indifferent. The Super Gu formation would not be able to stop the intense attacks of several immortal Gu houses and would collapse in a short while. The highest cultivation of the shadow monsters was only rank 7, and they were already killed or had dispersed in all directions. Just as Southern Border's Gu immortals were advancing boldly into the cave, the pure dream reality seeker bodies stood up. Bam, bam, bam. A series of self-detonations resounded. Dream realms formed instantly. This move again. Retreat. Clan Gu immortals had suffered from this move before. They immediately retreated far away with Bay Pavilion. Other immortal Gu houses also had no choice but to stop and look on from the side. The Dream Realms had formed into an all-around defense over Feng Yuan and the others. That Wu Yong and the rest had complex expressions. How could they break through such a defensive line? It was as if they were being bullied for being ignorant in Dream Path. These righteous Path Gu immortals, who had been advancing with surging momentum, were dumbfounded. That Wu Yong suddenly chuckled. Having to use such a defense means Shadow Sect is already at its wit's end. They are blocking us, but we are also trapping them inside. Let me see how long they can keep this defense. Both sides were in a stalemate. Right at this time, Wu Yong's expression changed slightly as he received a letter. It was from Heavenly Court. Chapter 1382. Wu Yong's Anger and Hatred. Chapter 1382. Wu Yong's Anger and Hatred. In the Battle of the Dream Realm, Shadow Sect lost entirely, and Southern Border's Righteous Path similarly suffered devastating losses. They lost the Super Gu formation they had arranged, the Immortal Gu each clan had offered, as well as countless Mortal Gu. They had invested so much, but their earnings were so little. Moreover, in the exploration of the Dream Realm, they had suffered direct attacks and lost several Gu immortals. The true profiteer, besides Feng Yuan, who had become Shadow Sect's leader, was Heavenly Court. Heavenly Court had not only captured Spectral Soul's main body, they had also walked away with the remaining second and first layer of the Super Gu formation. The Immortal Gu inside these two layers all belonged to Southern Border's Righteous Path, besides Dark Limit Immortal Gu, which belonged to Feng Yuan. Southern Border's Righteous Path was extremely indignant at such behavior. They wanted to demand an explanation from Heavenly Court. After all, they all belonged to the Righteous Path. Heavenly Court's actions were too unreasonable. When they had just started chasing after Feng Yuan and the others, Wu Yong had also started looking for Heavenly Court's Gu immortals. Although Southern Border and Central Continent were two different regions, super forces often transacted with each other. The credit for this went to Treasure Yellow Heaven. It was because of Treasure Yellow Heaven that Gu immortals could transact easily and more often with each other. Continuous circulation of goods meant frequent exchange and communication. As such, Wu Yong was able to look for Central Continent's 10 great ancient sects without much obstruction. However, he was not able to contact Heavenly Court's Gu immortals. If he could not interrogate Heavenly Court, just tangling with the 10 great ancient sects would not solve their problems. Fairy Ziwei Wu Yong mumbled while holding an information path mortal Good. He had not expected Heavenly Court's Gu immortals to take the initiative to seek him out. And this hidden Heavenly Court Wisdom Path Gu immortal had used just a mere information path mortal Gu to put Wu Yong in a difficult spot. The contents of this information path mortal Gu were about Feng Yuan and the others. Heavenly Court had information about Ing Wuxia, Purple Mountain True Monarch, by Ning Bing, Feng Yuan, and the rest, including the information that they possessed on the ancient battle formation, omnidirectional travel. The information that shocked Wu Yong the most was the real Wu Yihai was long since dead. The person who had mixed into Wu clan as Wu Yihai was the otherworldly demon Feng Yuan. It was actually like this. Feng Yuan is Wu Yihai. Wu Yihai is Feng Yuan. Wu Yong had still been thinking about saving his little brother, But now he found that his half-sibling had died long ago, and the enemy had been disguising as him all along. That Wu Yong first felt shock at this information. After all, this was beyond his expectations. He then felt anger. Anger towards Fang Yuan. This blasted criminal was the true killer of Wu Yihai, and was actually so audacious that after committing the murder, not only did he not escape, he joined Wu clan instead. This was simply a slap towards the entirety of Wu clan, including Wu Yong. More importantly, Fang Yuan had managed to pull it off perfectly. This was a disgrace, a humiliation. Fang Yuan not only looked down on the great Wu clan, he still ran to Wu clan and gave them resounding slaps. What kind of force was Wu clan? Southern Border's publicly recognized #1 righteous path force. What kind of person was Wu Yong? Wu Yong was the current person in charge of Wu clan. He was the first supreme elder with rank 8. Cultivation, he was a powerhouse with a number of rank 8 immortal goo and even possessed an immortal goo house. Fang Yuan's action was simply toying with Wu clan and Wu Yong like they were a joke. However, besides anger towards Fang Yuan, Wu Yong was also furious at Heavenly Court. Heavenly Court had taken away all the immortal goo of Wu clan from the Super Goo formation. This was one reason. The second was that Heavenly Court had sent this information to Wu Yong. What did this imply? They were telling Wu Yong wordlessly, "We have blackmail material on your Wu clan. You should consider your next course of action properly." As far as Wu Yong was concerned, this was a threat. Why was it that information of Fang Yuan being disguised as Wu Yihai was a threat to Wu Yong? This was the difference between the righteous path and demonic path. The righteous path had its own rules. The righteous path paid attention to reputation and face. Even if they took something by force, they would need a proper reason. They all needed to stand on the side of righteousness. Previously, many clans created difficulties for Wu clan, seizing Wu clan's resource points. How did Ho clan do it? They first sent one of their Goo immortals to pretend to be a demonic scoundrel, while another Ho clan Goo immortal pretended to chase him down, and with this reason, they forcibly occupied the resource point. How did Yang clan do it? They had planned and prepared for a long time. They first inserted themselves in a nearby mortal village of Wu clan. Then through the friction and contradictions between the mortals, they obtained justification that Wu Yong clearly had high battle strength and also possessed clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building. Why did he have to act so passively before? This was Wu Yong's scheme that he knew Wu clan had an enormous territory. If he directly showed his strength, other clans would only be wary and perhaps restrain themselves, but they would still be itching to take action. After all, Wu clan only had one rank 8 Goo immortal. But if Wu clan passively defended first, letting other clans bully it, Wu Yong could later retaliate with justification and sufficient excuses and get a bite out of every clan. Only like this would every force remember the pain and not dare to infringe upon Wu clan's might for several decades. This was Wu Yong's plan. Even his closest aide, Wu Fa, was not aware of this. In fact, before this, everything had been gradually progressing according to Wu Yong's plan. It was just that he had not expected the appearance of a disruptor like Shadow Sect. The demon Fang Yuan had mixed into Wu clan, and even Wu Yong himself treated Fang Yuan as his own brother. Don't forget that before this, Wu Yong had used Wu Yihai many times to elevate his reputation by showing care for him. Such a matter had happened to Wu clan, which was the #1 righteous path force of Southern Border. This would absolutely lower their reputation sharply and even cause other clans to have thoughts of turning on them. Wu Yong had wanted to use his planned excuses to get back at the other clans. But with this matter, as long as Southern Border's great clans stubbornly pressed on this issue, Wu clan's prestige would be gone. Your Wu clan is the head of Southern Border's righteous path, but a demon mixed in and even left unharmed. What face does your Wu clan have to command the righteous path? What qualifications does your Wu clan have to occupy these resources? Are you occupying these resources so you can supply them to the demons you are hiding inside your clan? On Earth, this was akin to when celebrities were discovered to have taken drugs. Successful people who always proclaimed they loved their family were found to have extramarital affairs, or when traitorous undercover agents were found within the police force. Prestige could not be seen and could not be touched, but it was indeed a kind of strength that could influence all aspects. The way Wu Yong saw it, Those resource points Wu Clan lost were nothing. Since they could be lost, he could also seize them back. In truth, he was trying to take the opportunity to elevate his prestige, show his powerful strength, and leave behind his story in the history of Southern Border. However, this changed because of Feng Yuan. Once this matter was found out, it would be a huge blow to Wu Clan. The prestige and reputation that countless generations of Wu Clan members had built and maintained painstakingly would suffer enormous damage. Once this matter was spread, what face would Wu Yong still have to go seize back the lost resource points? Wu Clan would not be able to raise its head for a long period of time. This damned Feng Yuan. Wu Yong clenched his teeth. He had never hated a person to this extent. It was actually quite ironic. He had himself to blame for using Wu Yihai to increase his reputation by showing his benevolence and familial love. But the result? This familial love would turn into Wu Yong's incompetence for being toyed around by Feng Yuan. This was a lifetime stain on Wu Yong. This blasted Fairy Z Wei. Wu Yong was full of hatred towards this female wisdom path immortal of Heavenly Court as well. Her intention was clear. By informing Wu Yong of this, she was warning Wu Yong, as well as using him as a tool to make him do his best to eliminate Feng Yuan and the others. Wu Yong had to kill Feng Yuan as long as he secretly killed Feng Yuan. Wu Yihai's death could be blamed on Shadow Sect. It was undoubtedly logical. Why then? Even if Heavenly Court exposed this matter, Wu Yong would have nothing to fear. This matter also would not be his life's disgrace. Fairy Z Wei. Wu Yong mumbled this name that he knew clearly that Fairy Z Wei wanted him to exert himself to kill Feng Yuan and the others. She was blatantly using him. Yet Wu Yong had no choice but to do it. Most importantly, this letter Gu from Fairy Z Wei only had information about Feng Yuan and Shadow Sect. It did not have any words of negotiation or threat towards Wu Yong. This made Wu Yong unable to grasp any information that could be used against Fairy Z Wei. Lord Wu Yong, what happened? Xiao Clan's first supreme elder, Xiao Zhikai, asked with concern when he saw Wu Yong's expression turning odd. Wu Yong glanced at him, immediately feeling hatred towards him as well. It was this old geezer, ordering Xiao Clan to cling onto and climb up my Wu Clan. Without him, how could Feng Yuan have joined my Wu Clan so easily? On the surface, however, Wu Yong smiled, speaking warmly to Xiao Zhikai. It is nothing. I was just concerned about my brother. Who knows what would happen to him in Shadow Sect's hands? Xiao Zhikai felt strange inwardly. There were no outsiders here. Why was Wu Yong still concerned about Wu Yihai? Why was he acting like this? Previously, Wu Yong's concern over Feng Yuan was just a show, but it was real this time. His concern over Feng Yuan now was the desire to kill him immediately. You still cannot contact Wu Yihai? Wu Yong secretly contacted Wu Clan's Gu Immortals back at headquarters. The group of immortals were silent. Among them, one spoke. The last time we communicated with Lord Wu Yihai was when he borrowed Gu from the clan. Another continued. Lord Wu Yihai has 6 immortal Gu he borrowed from the clan. Nothing must happen to him. Wu Yong's anger immediately flared by several degrees. He had personally approved Feng Yuan's request of borrowing these 6 immortal Gu from the treasury. Moreover, there was still the provision of 100,000 immortal essence stones. Wu Yong himself had taken the initiative to give them to Feng Yuan. Wu Yong really wanted to slap himself at the same time. His hatred towards Feng Yuan deepened even more. It was this guy. This guy really could act. Even at the verge of being exposed, he still did not forget to reap profits. Truly insidious and extremely crafty. The Grand Wu Yong, was actually scammed by this guy. Chapter 1383, Hidden Confrontation. Wu Yong had considered that Heavenly Court might have sent false information. However, Fairy Z Wei had provided a lot of evidence. Moreover, back then, after Feng Yuan had changed his appearance, many Southern Border Gu Immortals had witnessed him leaving the battlefield with He Bai and other immortals on the upper extreme. Heavenly Eagled Wu Yihai's disappearance was too sudden and strange. If Wu Yihai was Feng Yuan, then everything could be explained. Send over Wu Yihai's Life Tablet Gu and Soul Lantern Gu through Treasure Yellow Heaven. Also, Wu Fa, take out some immortal Gu from the treasury for me. Wu Yong was looking at the layers of dream realms through the window, while secretly sending his orders at the same time. He said to the faraway Chi Chu Yu, Chi Clan First Supreme Elder, please construct a formation around this area to prevent the enemy from escaping with space path methods. Oh, the enemy has such a method. Chi Chu Yu was surprised before nodding. I can arrange a goo formation to disturb space path transportations, but I don't have enough immortal goo with me. No worries. Wu Yong laughed. Right now, we have so many allies with us, no need to worry about not having enough immortal goo. No one retorted to Wu Yong. All of them followed Chi Chu Yu's request and looked at what immortal goo they had that could be arranged into a goo formation. If they truly did not have the required goo, they could get them sent over with the help of Treasure Yellow Heaven, despite the huge cost of doing so. But after Feng Yuan had started this trend, Southern Border's goo immortals had already started to imitate it. Feng Yuan soon found out about the matter of Wu Clan transporting goo worms to Wu Yong. After all, Treasure Yellow Heaven was extremely open. Any immortal goo transaction could cause a huge commotion. These immortal goo, they are almost all from Wu Clan's treasury. Looks like they are transporting them through Treasure Yellow Heaven. There are also my Life Tablet goo and Soul Lantern goo. Feng Yuan immediately had a bad premonition. Unfortunately, he could do nothing to stop it even after knowing this. Transactions in Treasure Yellow Heaven were extremely safe. Feng Yuan had once relied on this aspect, but now, his enemies were using this advantage. Soon, Feng Yuan's information path Mortal Goo received Wu Yong's message. Wu Yi Hai, or should I call you Feng Yuan? We can discuss and do a transaction. Use your immortal goo to buy your life. How about it? Feng Yuan's pupils shrunk. Looks like Heavenly Court has exposed this secret. Those goo worms must have been all sent to Wu Yong's hands, directly threatening me to buy my life. It seems he should have some method. Thinking of this, Feng Yuan stopped training with the other goo immortals. All of you continue practicing. I need to deal with a slight annoyance. Throwing out these words, he immediately stepped aside and began to activate Reverse Flow Protection Seal. Inside Wu Yong's immortal aperture, goo worms flew one after another like layers of clouds, almost covering the sky of the aperture. This is the signature killer move that Wu Clan 1, a former super clan of Southern Border, had used to inflict darkness and terror to Southern Border's goo immortal world. After my Wu Clan obtained it, we have been keeping it a secret, worried that we would be excluded by the joint forces of the other clans should they find out. Now, Feng Yuan, have a taste of it. Cold light erupted in Wu Yong's eyes. The immortal killer move activated. However, using his methods, he restrained the aura of the killer move. Even Xiao Ji Kai, who was standing beside him, did not sense it the next moment. Wu Yong's expression changed. His body shook fiercely as he coughed out a large mouthful of blood. Lord Wu Yong, what's wrong? Xiao Ji Kai was pale with fright, quickly running over to support Wu Yong. How could this be? Fortunately, I only wanted to warn and probe, and did not use its full might. Wu Yong was filled with shock. He had clearly targeted Feng Yuan, but he was the one who suffered. Wu Yong lightly shook off Xiao Ji Kai's hand. His expression quickly recovered, coughing a few times. No worries. It is a hidden injury from my battle at the Purple Blood River Formation. Xiao Ji Kai immediately showed a moved and admirable expression. Lord Wu Yong hurried over to save his little brother, disregarding his injuries. You are truly the model example of our righteous path. Wu Yong, he was silent for a moment, before saying to Xiao Ji Kai, you are amazing. How could Xiao Ji Kai have expected Wu Yong's words to be sarcastic? He was still thinking his flattery had worked and was inwardly feeling pleased that Wu Yong's injury was because of Feng Yuan's reverse flow protection seal. Reverse flow river's water has decreased a little. Wu Yong indeed has some kind of terrifying method that can directly attack my physical body through my Life Tablet goo and Soul Lantern goo. It's a pity he encountered my reverse flow protection seal, and his killer move was completely reflected back. Feng Yuan let out a breath of air and started thinking, this is a little strange. Since Wu Yong knows I am Feng Yuan, how could he not have considered my reverse flow protection seal? Could it be he does not know my other identity, Lu Guanyi? Did Heavenly Court not inform him? Or maybe even Heavenly Court does not know of it. Feng Yuan thought of the dream realm. This time, His identity had been exposed because the external manifestation of the giant dream realm was invaded by Heaven's will. He had entered the dream realm many times to explore, and when his soul entered the dreams, it was without the disguise of familiar face and dark limit immortal goo. As such, Heaven's will could see his true body and find his location if it was like this. Then Lu Guanyi's identity had not been exposed. Damn it. Fang Yuan's heart suddenly sank when he thought of this. I have activated reverse flow protection seal now, and with the investigative killer move on me, am I not telling others that I am Lu Guanyi? Whether or not Heavenly Court discovered this identity before, now that I have activated reverse flow protection seal, they definitely know of it. This was a small hidden confrontation that a brand new battle that it involved three sides, Fang Yuan, Wu Yong, and Heavenly Court, that Wu Yong suffered backlash from his own method, but his injuries were not serious. Fang Yuan did not suffer any injuries, but had exposed a lot of information. Heavenly Court was manipulating from behind the scenes, making Wu Yong and Fang Yuan fight each other, without using their own strength. This was Fairy Z-Wei's scheme. This Heavenly Court wisdom path Gu Immortal grasped crucial clues and information, and immediately displayed her powerful scheming ability. Moreover, she handled it with extreme finesse that Wu Yong sent another letter to Fang Yuan. But Fang Yuan paid no more attention to it. The training of the ancient battle formation omnidirectional travel finally showed results, and they were getting closer to success. However, Fang Yuan had now become a burden. He needed to maintain reverse flow protection seal at all times to guard against Wu Yong's attacks. His focus was mostly placed on this, and so, it was difficult to pay attention to omnidirectional travel. However, after Fang Yuan intentionally slowed down the pace, they were finally able to activate it little by little that a resplendent radiance illuminated their surroundings. The light quickly dissipated. Fang Yuan and the rest had disappeared from the spot. The intense turbulence of space path was more or less sensed by the southern border Gu immortals outside the dream realm. They have left. Maybe one or two are left behind. Wu Yong was not surprised, but our Gu formation has yet to be constructed fully. They actually had such methods? Why didn't they use it earlier on? It definitely has some serious flaws. Qiao Zhikai guessed. Qi Chuyu stroked his beard. No worries. Although my super Gu formation has not been arranged perfectly, it has produced some results. I believe that right now, they should have already been separated. Many southern border Gu immortals were clueless, but Wu Yong did not stint on his praise. Qi Clan's first supreme elder is truly formidable. Since Wu Yong knew Fang Yuan and the rest had omnidirectional travel, he had predicted they would use this method to escape. How could he not have arranged a method to deal with it? He had already secretly transmitted the information to Qi Chuyu and had him arrange a countermeasure against it. Qi Chuyu was a rank 8 Gu immortal, a formation path great grandmaster, with a concrete goal and information. He could make an appropriate response. Huff! Bai Ningbing had just stepped on the ground. When she coughed out a large mouthful of blood, she felt exhausted and her face was deathly pale. This is not our intended destination. Bai Ningbing's dragon pupils slightly shrunk. She quickly contacted the others. The ancient battle formation omnidirectional travel had been disrupted. The Shadow Sect Gu immortals were separated, far from each other. Besides Fang Yuan, each of them were injured to some degree. What should we do, sect leader? Fairy Miao Ying quickly inquired. Fang Yuan hesitated. Should he escape by himself using the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle? Or should he waste time to regather the Shadow Sect immortals? By now, the pure dream reality seeker bodies had basically all detonated into dream realms back in Plunder Shadow Earth Trench. There were still a few who were left in the immortal apertures of He Lu Lan and the others, including Ing Wu Xie, who was in Lady White Rabbit's immortal aperture. Dream realms were invaded by Heaven's will. The pure dream reality seeker bodies were also paid attention to by Heaven's will at all times. Keeping them near oneself was the same as leaking their location. However, pure dream reality seeker bodies could self-detonate into dream realms at crucial times and be used to obstruct immortal Gu houses. As such, Fang Yuan was keeping them with him. The investigative killer move on him had not been broken. There was also his life tablet Gu and soul lantern Gu, which were in Wu Clan's hands. More importantly, Wu Clan actually had methods to attack Fang Yuan through them. The situation could be said to be extremely bad and dangerous. It was difficult for Fang Yuan to deal with even one immortal Gu house. The upper extreme Heavenly Eagle was not reliable. Although it had rank 8 strength, it would not risk its life if it encountered a strong enemy. Fang Yuan's control over it had yet to be improved. Dark Limit Immortal Gu was also lost. Heavens could now monitor Fang Yuan at all times and easily make arrangements. Moreover, they might also have been struck by investigative methods as well. Fang Yuan's gaze turned gloomy. After coming out of Plunder Shadow Earth Trench, Fang Yuan's next destination was Western Desert. Among the 5 regions, Western Desert had the highest quantity of Shadow Sect's remaining resources. Because Ying Wu Xie, Purple Mountain True Monarch, and the others had traveled the other 4 regions and plundered all the remaining resources and immortal Gu that they could plunder. Only Western Desert remained. Should I go to Western Desert alone? It is a pity to sacrifice them like this. Also, as long as I don't break the investigative method on me, my whereabouts will always be grasped by others. Langya Sect. Chapter 1384. Respective Trials. Rumble. Air currents surged and great waves billowed. Glorious radiance shined, creating a magnificent scene. From within the light, a figure gradually walked out that he was extremely tall, about 9 feet, with a well-built body. He had long and dense black hair that draped behind him like a cloak, slightly waving as he walked forward. The most eye-catching part was this Gu Immortal had a pair of spiral dragon horns on his forehead, which seemed to be made of purple gold, shining brightly. Fairy Ziwei had already waited for a long time. She went up and bowed with joy. Lord Duke Long. This person was none other than Duke Long. He had personally led the Central Continent Immortals in Heaven Overseeing Tower, becoming the biggest winner of the Battle of the Dream Realm. Heaven Overseeing Tower was extremely fast. It returned to Central Continent after quickly crossing 2 regions in White Heaven. The Immortals of Central Continent's 10 great ancient sects left by themselves, while Duke Long and Fairy Ziwei returned to Heavenly Court. As per Duke Long's instructions, Fairy Ziwei activated Heavenly Court's Gu formation to screen Duke Long's identity and prevent him from being possessed by Spectral Soul. From the current situation, it looked like Spectral Soul did not succeed in possession, and Duke Long was still Duke Long, but his face was ashen, his brows were deeply knotted, and every step he took, his soul felt a tremor. As expected of Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, even after death, his soul path attainment is still unrivaled. I will use our Heavenly Court's immortal graveyard to thoroughly suppress him. Duke Long said. Fairy Ziwei, you shall continue to lead Heavenly Court. Do your best to completely eliminate Fang Yuan and the rest. Fairy Ziwei nodded. I have already notified Wu Yong and have borrowed the strength of Southern Borders Gu Immortals to separate Fang Yuan and the rest of Shadow Sect members. Not long ago, I sent another letter to Wu Yong, informing him of the specific location of these Shadow Sect members. I estimate we will receive news of success within a few days. Duke Long nodded lightly, a trace of admiration flashing past his eyes as he looked at Fairy Ziwei. This was the incredible power of a Wisdom Path Gu Immortal. They could pry into the secrets of heaven and earth with just one event. They could appraise people's hearts and make others fight for them while they watch from far away. Fairy Ziwei herself had extraordinary talent and was an elite among rank 8 Gu Immortals. This was the reason why she had been accepted into Heavenly Court. And with the use of Star Constellation Chessboard, she could be said to be among the top 3 Wisdom Path experts in the present. The reason why she could not be said to be number 1 was because the world was vast. There were many experts who lived in seclusion. Even Heavenly Court did not know the specific details. Chaos had to descend. The world had to be turned upside down before these experts made their appearance. Previously, Fairy Ziwei had not been able to make many achievements because she lacked crucial clues at that time. Fang Yuan's defense was too good, but it was different now. Duke Long continued to instruct. This demon Fang Yuan, we must take his life. He is a complete otherworldly demon, the only natural enemy of Fate Gu. But he is also the long-awaited inheritor of Red Lotus. He not only has Giant Sun's true inheritance, but also will gain Red Lotus true inheritance. The great era is coming. Our Heavenly Court needs to have our 4th Immortal Venerable, great dream, immortal venerable. To receive and guide her, we need to put in all our effort to remove all obstacles. Feng Yuan, Giant Sun, Red Lotus, all of them. Everything is for great dream, immortal venerable. Ziwei, do you understand? I understand. Fairy Ziwei nodded. Just like you arranged, that person is now in southern border. Good. Duke Long nodded. He did not speak any further, turning around and leaving. Fairy Ziwei stood on the spot, quietly seeing off Duke Long with her gaze, until his tall body completely disappeared into the immortal graveyard. She slowly breathed out a sigh, her eyes glittering as she thought of the huge task. Heavenly Court is to be the strongest. For all eternity. She softly mumbled, southern border. A white figure quickly streaked through the air. Soon after, thunder and fire arrived, exploding in a line behind the figure. It was a small error, but it resulted in a large discrepancy. The white figure dodged in time, coming out safe and sound. It then stopped and casually waved backwards. Whoosh! In an instant, ice and snow flew, and cold wind roared. A figure came out of the thunder and fire, and had wanted to chase, but it quickly stopped and used defensive methods. Several breaths later, this small valley turned into a land of ice and snow. Ice crystals could be seen everywhere, shining brightly under the sunlight, while releasing cold air. Having rank 6 cultivation level, but rank 7 battle strength? Terrifying, truly worthy of a northern dark ice soul physique. Gu immortal. Chai Clan rank 7 expert Chai Pajun inwardly praised, before increasing his strength. Bam! The thick ice that had formed on his body could not resist his fierce power, immediately shattering into pieces. He was thin and shriveled. His skin was slightly black as if he had been forged in iron, his fierce eyes staring at his opponent, who was standing on a high slope. His opponent was dressed in white and had an extremely graceful figure. Bright silver hair flowed down to her waist, her pale blue dragon eyes emitting a cold aura to the outside world. Her skin was white as snow, her expression was cold, and with an unparalleled appearance. Even Chai Pajun's soul was stirred when he first saw this beauty. The more eye-catching part was the pair of small and cute red dragon horns that were growing on this female immortal's forehead. She was Dragon Lady by Ning Bing. She had activated the ancient battle formation omnidirectional travel with Feng Yuan and the rest. But because of Chi Chu Yu's Gu formation, the battle formation was disrupted and the Gu immortals were separated in all directions. Bai Ning Bing had been teleported to this place and had immediately treated her injuries. She then moved towards the gathering point which Feng Yuan had set, but was intercepted by Chai Pajay Yuan. An intense battle began as a result. They fought for dozens of rounds and had battled through hundreds of li, but were unable to determine a victor point. Two pairs of eyes gazed at each other. Chai Pajun did not immediately initiate the attack. Bai Ningbing stared at Chai Pajun's skin with her blue dragon eyes, pondering. This is the neutralized wood body created by Chai Pajun? Even if it is an immortal killer move attacking this body, as long as they are not powerful enough, their strength will be sharply reduced and end up at the level of a mortal killer move. Chai Pajun's neutralized wood body was a unique move. It directly destroyed Bai Ningbing's Cold Eyes immortal killer move. Bai Ningbing's Cold Eyes immortal killer move was a move that was quite troublesome to deal with. In the past, Feng Yuan had been struck by this move when he was chasing Ing Wu Xie and the rest. However, Chai Pajun's neutralized wood body could directly disregard Cold Eyes. Naturally, Bai Xiang's true inheritance did not just have cold eyes. As such, while fighting with Bai Ningbing, Chai Pajun had been inflicted with quite a few injuries. Amazing. Chai Pajun suddenly spoke. I have to hand it to you, Bai Ningbing. His tone was flat, without any fluctuation in his pitch. In this silent battlefield, this strange tone seemed to fade into the cold air. You are only a rank 6, but I am actually finding trouble dealing with you. I have been famous for a long time, and have long been a reputed rank 7 fire path expert in southern border. But look at me now. I am actually unable to dispel this frost energy on me. One of the 10 extreme physiques, Northern Dark Ice Soul physique, as well as Bai Xiang's true inheritance, it really makes people envious. If you were kind and walked the righteous path, you would definitely have a place in Southern Border's Gu immortal world. A pity that you have fallen to the demonic path, bringing disaster to countless beings. Your ending can only be death. As he said this, Chai Pajun paused, slightly turning his head to look at the horizon. Thunder rumbled, crackle, lightning spread far and wide, cleaving ice and rocks. Another rank 7 expert had suddenly descended. By Ning Bing, you think you can escape after attacking Southern Border's righteous path? This expert's eyes shined fiercely as he bellowed. Chai Pajun let out a breath of air when he saw the reinforcement. He had intentionally spoken a lot of superfluous words to stall for time. After fighting with Bai Ning Bing, he deeply realized it was difficult for him to win against Bai Ning Bing, let alone take her life, that he needed backup. Fortunately, Wu Yong was in charge of the whole situation, and with Fairy Ziwei's swift information, he immediately dispatched Gu Immortals to besiege the scattered Shadow Sect members. Be careful. This woman is extremely strong. We can't be careless. Relax. I have the information given by Lord Wu Yong. As long as we hold her here for some time, an expert specialized in battlefield killer moves will come to help us. Just as the two were secretly communicating, Bai Ning Bing suddenly spoke. Her nature was cold as ice. She had remained silent during the whole battle. This was the first time she spoke. Idiots. It was a cold and arrogant voice, but at the same time, it was very pleasant to listen to, making the two rank 7 experts slightly dazed. The next moment, Bai Ning Bing suddenly erupted with a powerful aura. Damn! What a mortal killer move is this? Its aura alone is so terrifying. I was delaying to wait for backup. I didn't expect Bai Ning Bing to also be delaying for time, so she could prepare her killer move. The backup's heart shook, while Chai Pajun shouted and blamed himself for walking into a trap. There is the eerie fire tunnel ahead. As long as I enter it, I can guard against deductions and wait for help. Hei Lulan moved quickly. In her vision, trees turned into afterimages as she quickly moved past them. Hei Lulan had ended up in this place after the ancient battle formation omnidirectional travel failed, but she had immediately received Fong Yuan's instructions to move to a hidden location about 100 li ahead and take refuge while waiting for others. Without doubt, Hei Lulan's luck was pretty good, as not far from her was the eerie fire tunnel. This was a formation set up by Purple Mountain True Monarch while he was alive. It was constructed with eerie fire immortal materials and had the effect of concealment by blocking wisdom path deductions. After a while of running, the eerie fire tunnel was already within 5 li. However, right at this time, Hei Lulan suddenly stopped. She gazed at the inconspicuous small tree ahead, her brows furrowed, and all kinds of goo worm aura gradually rose from her body. You only saw my goo formation now. Hei Lulan, your vision is quite poor. A jesting voice came from nowhere. The next moment, the goo formation activated. Hei Lulan's vision suddenly changed. The mountains and grassy lands disappeared. Only a desert remained where not even grass grew. Hei Lulan's pupils contracted. Being trapped in an immortal formation was the worst situation. If she had encountered an enemy, she could escape. But in a goo formation, she was caged. There was another thing Hei Lulan suspected. My speed was not slow. I have been moving according to Fong Yuan's instructions. The enemy actually knew my movement route and also set up a goo formation earlier. Did Fong Yuan sacrifice me, luring the enemy to me so that he had time to escape? Chapter 1385, Fong Yuan's Judgment. Chapter 1385, Fong Yuan's Judgment. Boom. A huge explosion occurred. Flames raged everywhere. Scalding air currents gathered into a solid air wall that fiercely repelled everything at once. Yellow sand filled the goo formation, and smoke rose up. Dust gradually settled down, revealing a lone figure that was Hei Lulan. She was gasping heavily, her body covered in a fiery dress. This gorgeous dress that was originally filled with flames now only had some bits of fire remaining. Even this move cannot destroy the goo formation? Sensing she was still inside the goo formation, Hei Lulan's heart sank to rock bottom. The fight had been ongoing for over an hour. Hei Lulan had used all her methods, but was unable to destroy this goo formation. She was completely in a disadvantageous and passive state that in fact, during the whole fight, she did not even know what her opponent looked like. This southern border righteous path goo immortal was controlling the goo formation from behind the scenes and had never revealed himself. I must admit, Hei Lulan, you are really strong. It is a pity that you do not possess even a meager amount of formation path attainment. I will be honest with you. Even if your battle strength doubled, you still won't be able to forcibly break my signature Gu formation. As he said this, the formation path Gu immortal let out a long laugh of satisfaction. He Lulan snorted, sighing inwardly. I don't have much immortal essence left, and I have used all my methods. To think that I, He Lulan, would finally die here. Oh, mother, I could not avenge you. Although He tribe is already destroyed, He Chung is still alive. This is my biggest regret. Right at this time, the formation path Gu immortal's laughter abruptly stopped. Damn it. He let out a shout in which his fright could be clearly heard. A chance. He Lulan roused herself, the next moment. She saw the gray world of the Gu formation suddenly brightening up with long rays of light. Sword light. The sword lights flashed by, but they left behind long lines of white marks in the dark sky. As the white marks rapidly enlarged, He Lulan heard a resonant dragon roar that quickly turned louder and louder until it was the only thing she could hear. He Lulan's mind jolted. She was extremely familiar with this dragon roar. She had a heavy impression of it, because not long ago, He Lulan had been hunted down miserably by the creator of this sound, and was only able to barely survive with the combined strength of Ying Wuxie and the rest. Feng Yuan. He Lulan almost called out in joy. Never before had she felt Feng Yuan's dragon roar would sound so beautiful. The white sword marks were exceptionally conspicuous in the dark sky. The sword marks were enlarging rapidly, and like tearing open a mouth, bright light poured inside this enlarging mouth. No. That formation expert Gu immortal let out an unresigned CRYT the next moment. The immortal formation that made He Lulan suffer indescribably shattered loudly. Light filled her vision. He Lulan was on guard. Her squinting eyes slowly opened up, and after adapting to the light, she saw Feng Yuan standing right beside her. And that southern border Gu immortal was being jointly attacked by Fairy Miao Yin and Black Tigress. I am safe. He Lulan immediately let out a breath of relief and relaxed her mind. The joy of escaping from death soon faded. She, who had an ambitious and ruthless nature, only glanced at Feng Yuan once, before sitting cross-legged on the ground and healing her injuries. That as far as He Lulan was concerned, the situation just before was extremely dangerous. Her injuries were serious, proving that her life had been hanging by a thread. Feng Yuan did not help to heal her. Feng Yuan did not have any presentable healing method other than man as before. If it were Feng Yuan who was injured, apart from using man as before, he could also transform into an ancient desolate beast and rely on the ancient desolate beast's self-recovery ability to heal himself. But for He Lulan, this transformation path method was not feasible. The battle soon ended. Fairy Miao Yin and Black Tigress were rank 7 experts, and they were jointly attacking a rank 7 Gu immortal. They naturally had the advantage, and this rank 7 southern border Gu immortal's main cultivation was formation path. He was best at setting up Gu formations, but close combat was his weakness. More importantly, his immortal formation had been destroyed by Feng Yuan. He suffered a backlash, immediately suffering heavy injuries. With injuries from both this and the attacks, this rank 7 Gu immortal quickly lost his life. This was a rank 7 formation path Gu immortal. They were rather rare. Feng Yuan stored the corpse in his sovereign immortal aperture and did not immediately annex it. He called out to the upper extreme heavenly eagle, "Go. We will reinforce by Ningbing." The group of immortals knew the urgency of the situation. With just a slight delay, they could be besieged by a large southern border group. It was because of this Feng Yuan did not hastily merge this corpse's immortal aperture into his sovereign immortal aperture, and instead hurried on the upper extreme heavenly eagled by the time they saw by Ningbing. The battle had ended. In all the surroundings, it was a world of ice and snow. Bai Ningbing was in Bai Xiang form, proudly standing on top of a snowy peak, and her opponents, 2 were dead and 1 was injured. Bai Ningbing actually won in a 1 versus 3. Bai Xiang. Right? This is the killer move Bai Xiang. The killer move that once brought white terror to the whole of southern border. Who could have thought it would reappear in Bai Ningbing? The injured southern border Gu immortal was filled with fright and used all his strength to retreat. But when he saw the upper extreme heavenly eagle appearing in the horizon, he almost lost hope. However, Fang Yuan did not chase him, instead taking Bai Ningbing and immediately leaving. Right now, they had become fugitives and had to fight for every second. They could not waste their precious time on this rank 7 Gu immortal. Since this rank 7 Gu immortal could escape death, while his other 2 allies had already died, he definitely had methods to flee, and it would not be easy to kill him in a short time period. The upper extreme heavenly eagle changed directions, flying towards Western Desert. Bai Ningbing canceled the killer move by Xiang and immediately collapsed on the eagle's back. She was already spent. The killer move by Xiang was abnormally powerful, but it was very taxing on the mind, and its consumption of immortal essence was also extremely fast. To Bai Ningbing, it was an extremely heavy burden. If that fleeing southern border Gu immortal had continued to fight, he might have been able to see through Bai Ningbing's facade. A pity he was frightened badly by Bai Xiang. This immortal killer move was terrifying in all aspects. Its user could revive from just a small fragment. They were almost an invulnerable white monster, unless someone could break this killer move, or kill Bai Ningbing instantly without leaving behind even a fragment. Bai Ningbing fell unconscious immediately after canceling the killer move. If Fang Yuan and the rest had not come to her rescue, she might have died from mental exhaustion. Fortunately, Fang Yuan had a good knowledge of wisdom path methods and could heal this side effect. When Bai Ningbing slowly woke up, the upper extreme heavenly eagle had already flown over 100,000 li. You actually came to save me? Bai Ningbing gazed at Fang Yuan and spoke without any politeness, expressing her astonishment. Bai Ningbing could not be any more clear of Fang Yuan's nature and had not even thought of being rescued by Fang Yuan. He Lulan was also doubtful of Fang Yuan's objective and had previously wondered if Fang Yuan had sacrificed her. Bai Ningbing thought even further and was sure Fang Yuan would sacrifice them and escape by himself. Fang Yuan glanced at Bai Ningbing expressionlessly and said lightly, "The situation is more serious than you imagine. We have all been struck by investigative killer moves, which is why you were all intercepted by southern border righteous path Gu immortals when you were escaping." Although Fang Yuan had perceivable Dao immortal Gu, which could detect Dao marks on a Gu immortal's body, he was not aware of how many Dao marks other Gu immortals originally had. Without this number, even if Fang Yuan inspected the Dao marks on He Lulan, Bai Ningbing, and the rest, what use would it have? However, from the enemy's actions, he could clearly see that they had also been struck by similar investigative killer moves. Which southern border Gu immortal was it? Fang Yuan, you are now Shadow Sect's leader and have inherited Purple Mountain True Monarch's inheritance. Even you cannot break it. Bai Ningbing asked. I already tried. Fang Yuan sighed. He did not have all of Purple Mountain True Monarch's immortal Gu, as many of them had been lost in battle. Although he had several good methods to deal with this situation, Fang Yuan could not use them without the respective immortal Gu. He Lulan's gaze flickered when she heard this, immediately thinking of Langya's sect. Since they did not have enough immortal Gu, they could refine them, and she knew Fang Yuan's and Langya's sect's relationship was extremely close. Fang Yuan could use the help of that connection. In fact, Fang Yuan had also wanted to do so, not long ago, when he decided to rescue Bai Ningbing and the rest. He had contacted Sixth Hair. However, Sixth Hair did not acknowledge Fang Yuan's status. He was doubtful of Fang Yuan's motive and asked Fang Yuan to save Ing Wuxia. After all, only these 2 split souls remained of Spectral Soul. However, Ing Wuxia and Lady White Rabbit were both staying in Fairy Miao Yin's immortal aperture. This was one of the reasons why Fang Yuan went back to rescue them. Sixth Hair was not willing to cooperate, so Fang Yuan looked for Langya Land Spirit. What made Fang Yuan happy was that Langya's sect and Langya Land Spirit were no longer difficult to communicate with like before. He only needed sect contribution points, and he could borrow Langya's sect's strength to refine Gu. Fang Yuan handed some contents of Purple Mountain True Monarch's inheritances, causing his sect contribution points to sharply increase. He exchanged them for the chance of having Langya Land Spirit personally refine immortal Gu for him. Under Fang Yuan's request, Langya Land Spirit used the human isolation style to refine Gu instead of the hairy man heaven and earth style that Heaven's Will was observing them. If the Land Spirit used the hairy man heaven and earth style, He might not be able to refine Gu successfully no matter what because of interference from heaven's wills. Although Langya sect had begun refining Gu for Feng Yuan, Gu refinement was a series of processes. Moreover, immortal Gu were difficult to refine and could not be rapidly created. The situation is even more complex. I suspect Heavenly Court has already collaborated with Southern Border's Righteous Path to eliminate us. Heavenly Court is using Southern Border's Righteous Path as a tool, but they won't just watch from the sidelines the whole time. Besides the Southern Border Righteous Path Gu Immortals, we need to be careful of Heavenly Court's Gu Immortals lying in ambush and waiting for a chance to deal with us. Feng Yuan said in a heavy voice.